BJP and earlier Janasangh or even RSS, they have always opposed special status to Jammu and Kashmir. Their opposition has been ideological and historical, because their argument is that in the first place this entire thing belongs to Hindus. So they think from religion point of view, and so Muslims in the first place can't claim partition, Pakistan, that's one. Number two, after that, Muslims here cannot claim any separate status. Either they are part of India like others, or maybe they should leave the place. But definitely they don't deserve a special status. Okay. But this was not the position of the Constitution. The position of the Constitution is that it is not Hindu land or Muslim land. The land belongs to the people who are staying there, and the nation is based on consent. And there were some issues regarding this consent which we are not going into, but based on this consent related issues, 370 was constituted. Okay. We are not going into those issues, but when BJP came to power and also got a thumping majority in 2019, it wanted to do what it always desired to do, that is, how to remove the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. And let us see what are the issues. These are the provisions of 370. 371D says Constitution of India can be applied with the concurrence of Jammu and Kashmir government. Provisions of the Constitution can be applied with the Jammu and Kashmir government. Jammu and Kashmir government will mean governor, chief minister and legislature, state legislature, all this. So BJP wants all the provisions to be applied. So what to do? Jammu and Kashmir government, as it is defined like this, it will not give consent. So this is one issue. Next, 373 says special status of Jammu and Kashmir can be ended only with the recommendations of Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly. This Constituent Assembly is not there. It was closed in wound up its business in 1957. So how do you get back this 1957 Constituent Assembly? So what is the way to go around this? So because there is no Jammu Constituent Assembly, it doesn't mean that nobody can remove special status. Is it like that? So what to do about the Constituent Assembly is another challenge that it wanted to face. So what did it do? It felt maybe we can do these changes. Number one, make Jammu and instead of Jammu and Kashmir government, make it Jammu and Kashmir governor. If it is governor, you can get this. Instead of Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly, you make it Jammu and Kashmir State Legislature, and then ensure that Union Legislature recommends on the behalf of State Legislature. So Parliament. So if you can get governor to do certain things and Parliament to do certain things, then maybe we can remove this 370. So that is the plan. So this is one project, this is another project. How did it go by this? Now Jammu and Kashmir government. On 20th June 2018, using section 92 of Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, governor's rule is imposed, which means state cabinet is out. Then, using section 53(2) of Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, Legislative Assembly is dissolved, state legislature is out. And then, President's rule was imposed Article 356 on 19th December. So, through 1, 2, 3, from Jammu and Kashmir government to Jammu and Kashmir governor under 356. So, through these three provisions, they got this. And next thing about, so this is over. Next thing is about Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly. What do we do with this Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly, which no longer exists? What they did. They, through amending Article 367, see 370 cannot be amended through 368, so they amended 367. 367 explains certain words, defines certain words. So they changed the definition. They said government of Jammu and Kashmir can be read as governor of Jammu and Kashmir. Wow, this is one. So why this? Because 371 can be applied. Constituent Assembly of State can be read as Legislative Assembly of the State. This is another. So, because they can't amend 370, they amended 367 that defines the words related to 370. Okay. So, now by changing those meanings of those two words, they said now that 371D and 373 are ready to be used, all the provisions of the Constitution of India would apply. Why? Because governor said so. It is no longer, governor is equivalent to Jammu and Kashmir government. And Parliament passes a resolution to obligate 370. What is this Parliament? This in the place of Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. So 371 and 373 applied, and so they passed on August 6, 2019, all the clauses of 370 would cease to be operative, which means special status revoked. So Jammu and Kashmir becomes like any other state. So this is a kind of master stroke. Legal or not is a different issue, but this is how they went about it. But the operation is not completed. Next starts something more serious. That is, now that Jammu and Kashmir is like any other state, then attack with Article 3. It is bifurcated because Article 3 provides for reorganization. But then Article 3 says that there should be reference to state legislature. But then they said union legislature discussed it on behalf of state legislature. Okay. Anyway, yeah, even union legislature only passed that applying all provisions to anyway the abrogation of 370 itself, and then state is converted into 2 UTs. So there was no state legislature, but parliament was used to divide and also convert into UTs. So this is what the BJP government did, and Supreme Court did not immediately look into. Many years passed, and only recently it came up with its observations. Okay. These observations are very interesting. How do I explain Supreme Court versus Presidential Order 2019? To me, it looks like Modi ji and Amit Shah defined a question. It is their question. We can't say that is a nation's question. How to remove 370? And then they gave all these equations like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. And then they said once 370 is removed, then next steps. Okay. What did Supreme Court do? Supreme Court didn't really look into what is the relevance of this question. But what it said was, my friends, why are you doing all this? What you did, is very clumsy. Very clumsy in the first place. Why clumsy? You did too many unnecessary things. Okay, too many unnecessary steps. Because you missed the point about how actually it is so easy to remove. So that is the Supreme Court point. It is very clumsy, too many steps. But then it approved, though it said it is easier to do it. What does it mean? So it is like this. First of all, there are two provisions, 371D, 373. Government is trying to satisfy this and this, but Supreme Court said provisions of the Constitution of India can be applied with the concurrence of the Jammu and Kashmir. Why? Because of the special status. And when you are removing special status here, why are you worried about this? So why do you have to do all the things to make Jammu and Kashmir government to Jammu and Kashmir governor? This is not necessary. If you are doing 373, 371D is automatically applied. Okay. Then, okay, Modi ji and Amit Shah would ask, that may be fine. We agree with you. But How do you remove this thing? It says on the recommendations of Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly, and that Constituent Assembly was not there. What do you do? Judges said, that is the point. Why are you worried about the Constituent Assembly which doesn't exist? So, why are you worried about a non-existent body? So, if it is non-existent, then the power goes to president, and president can do simply remove. Special status is over. Why do you need all these things? Wow. So, it said like this. SC argued, first of all, Constituent Assembly was dissolved in 1957. What is your worry? More importantly, even if it exists, its recommendation is non-binding. It is an extremely serious interpretation. Constituent Committee's Assembly's recommendation, he says, is non-binding. So, which means President has the power. So, 373 gives President the power to remove special status. And moreover, he has been applying provisions since 1954 like this only. So, he has been applying provisions since 1954, and then in 2019 he can say, I am applying all, which means special status removed. So, what has been going on since 1954? You continue it and remove. Why are you bothered about Constituent Assembly and then all those provisions? Oh, is that simple? Why so? Because judges said Jammu and Kashmir is only a case of asymmetric federalism, which means, and then it was not given any internal sovereignty. This is an extremely serious point. Which means President is the final authority, and Jammu and Kashmir government's concurrence is not needed. Constituent Assembly recommendation is not needed. Jammu and Kashmir doesn't have an internal sovereignty, so President can simply remove. No questions asked. So many steps that the BJP government did were completely unnecessary and so clumsy way of removing 370. So it means it's like this. In the light of what Supreme Court said, so many things the government did are unnecessary. Governor's rule, unnecessary. Dissolution of assembly, unnecessary. President's rule, unnecessary. So why? Because Jammu and Kashmir government can stay as it is. You don't have to make it to governor. And 4-5, which were done to substituting the words amending 367, court said invalid. Anyway, they are unnecessary. Okay. But their being invalid doesn't make 2019 order invalid, because these things could have been done differently. Okay. So the court said deception exists only when you do things illegally, what you cannot do legally, but you can do legally. It's like saying that if you steal what is legally yours, stealing is not wrong. So 4-5 unnecessary, 6-7 also unnecessary. Why? Because parliament rule is not needed. 8. Removal of special status is valid as 373 provides for it. That's all. As simple as this. So Supreme Court is banking on 373. President can remove special status. No questions asked. As simple as that. All the steps are unnecessary. Some people have argued, some lawyers have argued, aren't they done with a bad intention, malafide? Supreme Court said bad intention doesn't matter, doesn't arise when they have done what they have done what they could have done perfectly legally. That is 373. So you don't have to think of 371D, not necessary. Just 373. If you settle 373, 371D settled. Okay. Then after this, how about use of Article 3? Court did till this. Then the state was bifurcated. Of course, state legislature, it is supposed to discuss, but then the court said it was only to discuss and it is not binding. Union legislature is, after all, is final. And so applying Article 3 also is okay. And how about converting to UT, Union Territory, into 2 UTs? Ladakh as UT is okay, but Jammu and Kashmir as UT, they said we don't look into it now. And anyway, government is planning to make it a state also, state soon. That's what they're saying. So why discuss it? So this is what Supreme Court said, and we will discuss its implications later. Thank you for listening to me.